What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Winnipeg Jets and the Buffalo Sabres. I kind of talked about this a little bit, in my defenseman targets video, but the wheels have fallen off over there in Buffalo. They're 0-7-3 in their last 10 games. Stuff is going to be changing there if this continues over there in Buffalo. They've rebuilt how many times now trying to get this team back in the playoffs. Haven't made the playoffs since 2011, nearly 14 years ago now. What's got to give there in Buffalo? There's a lot of talk about Dylan Cozens, a lot of talk about Bowen Byram, and I don't really see a reason why the Jets shouldn't be on the phone very, very soon, if they're not already, with the Sabres. Like I said, I talked about Bowen Byram before, RFA defenseman, very young, still just 23 years old, and he is an awesome player. Now imagine that guy partnered with Josh Morrissey, or even just in the same D-corps as Josh Morrissey, right? That goes a long way if you're the Winnipeg Jets. You need some more star power, you need some more flash, you need some more speed on defense. And what better way to clean all that up than acquiring Bowen Byram from the Sabres? Now this would be very expensive, as I've talked about in a previous video. He's going to go for top dollar. But if there's ever a year to do it, this is the year. This is, the best roster the Jets have probably had since, like the 2017-2018 year. This is the best they've ever played. I'd argue that this is been the best they've been coached. So let's go out. Let's go make that move. I would love to see Kevin Cheveldayoff pull the trigger here. Go out, say, hey, we're serious about this, add some star power. That'd be a huge get at the deadline. It would fill a lot of holes also. Dylan Sandberg obviously hurt right now. He will be coming back, but imagine that left side, Morrissey with Byram and then Sandberg. That's crazy, right? And it almost doesn't matter who their partners are at that point. Those guys are going to be, definitely carrying the partnership there. You'd have to imagine that Sandberg would play with Pionk, and then, maybe they partner, Bowen Byram with somebody a little bit more defensively responsible, like a Colin Miller, and then, Morrissey and DeMello maybe. That would be kind of fun. Flip-flop that any way you want, but that is a much improved decor if you're able to bring in a Bowen Byram. Now, Bowen Byram would be great, but the Jets are probably going to have to look for a second-line center before the trade deadline as well. What better way to address that than Dylan Cozens? Cozens right now has been struggling with the Sabres this season. 31 games played, just the 13 points. This is not his usual self. He's just not been producing over there in Buffalo. Last season in 79 games, he had 47 points. He has a career high of 68 points. With the Sabres over there in the 22-23 season. He would be an awesome ad. And not only just a good ad for this season, but a great ad for a long time. He could be your second line center for, the next 5-6 seasons. He's in the second year of a 7-year contract, $7.1 million cap hit. Yes, it is, slightly risky if he doesn't bounce back, but I'd argue that it's a pretty good bet. I mean, the guy's already had a great, 68-point season, at the age of what? I guess he would have been 21 when he did that. Come on, the guy's got some star power there. Everybody over there in Buffalo is struggling right now. Are you able to pry him out of there? He does have a 5-team no-trade clause, but that's only in years 5 to 7. So he's free game, can't really say no to anything. He doesn't have any power to do so. So if the Sabres are looking to shake it up, if they are unhappy and they are going to quit on Dylan Cozens, then what better team to acquire him than the Winnipeg Jets? And I think it's just even better considering, it seems like every year the Jets are looking for that second-line center to trade for that guy. And if you're able to bring in a Dylan Cozens, the guy that's already been able to produce the way he has and on a relatively nice contract, especially going into the future with the cap going up, if the Sabres demand a Brad Lambert in return or something like that, I'd argue you make that deal. Lambert's, a good player. And I love Brad, a big fan. I think, if he does, play out his career here in Winnipeg, he's going to be a great player. But is he going to ascend past a second-line center role on this team or in the NHL in general? I'm not so sure, right? I think he's a very good player, and I do think he has a chance to be elite, but I don't know if he's really ever going to be, the star that we hype him up to be. He's got a lot of tools, but I think he's just going to be a very good top 6 player. That's nothing to scoff at. Those don't grow on trees. It helps that he's a center as well. But if you trade him for a guy that we already know is a second line top 6 compatible player with room to grow at just 23 years old, I think you've got to make that deal straight up, especially when you're in the position you're in, with the Winnipeg Jets being a playoff team now, maybe not so much in the next, 2-3 years down the road. I think that, Cozens would be a great get now, and then you figure it out later with him. But being such a young piece and him having no trade protection, up until year 5 to 7 of his contract, I think that's perfect. Now, it may be hard to get Dylan Cozens out of Buffalo considering they just signed him. Obviously, they have some hope with him still and some faith that he's going to be a great player. And he already has shown that he's a great player. But if they do blink, I think he would be amazing. Same with Byram. I mean, they obviously haven't signed him long term yet, is an RFA, will be under control until next season for Winnipeg. Very digestible contract here. You could even take him for next year's ride if you want. If not, you can flip him. There's just too many good options here for Winnipeg, and 2 guys that don't really have any trade protection. So this is the time to go for it. This is the time to do something. And, with those 2 guys on the block, if you can bring in one of them, I think this goes a long way, not only for this season for Winnipeg, but into the future. I think this, definitely extends the possibility of them being good down the line. And we know that, True North Sports and Entertainment, their goal is to be a playoff team year in, year out. They have said multiple times they never want to rebuild. So, this would be a very True Northy move at the same time, right? So I would love to see either one of these guys in a Jets jersey. Obviously, there's risk with both players, like I talked about with Cozens. Is he going to bounce back to that second line, top 6 player form? Maybe, maybe not, right? Who knows? Maybe he's just going to fall off, but I really don't see that happening with Dylan. I think he's, fantastic player, and I think that, if he gets out of that situation in Buffalo or the situation improves in Buffalo, I think he's going to go back to being a top 6 forward, no problem. On the flip side with Bowen Byram, is he going to sign long-term in Winnipeg? That's something you got to wonder about. And with the price tag being so high, is Winnipeg going to, worry about that? I think that, they would look for probably an extension or something very soon after, or some, guarantee if they were to make that move that he would sign long-term with them. So really, who knows, right? Like, what is this going to look like? Is this possible for Winnipeg? It's very hard to say, but if you want to break that mold of saying, oh, the Jets don't have enough on defense, oh, the Jets always have to go after a second line center, you could break that mold this season and go after a Dylan Cozens. You could break that mold and go after a Bowen Byram and bring some true star power to your defense core to join Josh Morrissey. And I think this would be really fun. We'll have to see how this all plays out, but I would be, damned to think that Kevin Cheveldayoff wouldn't be on the phone with Kevin Adams of the Buffalo Sabres right now. But what do you guys think? Would either of these guys be appealing to you, and who would you want more out of the 2 if either of them? So let me know down below, Cozens or Byram, which one is your pick? But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll hit you back with some more Jets content this week before the holidays. So thank you so much. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Go Jets, go. Bye-bye.